Hey, good morning, good afternoon, depending on wherever you might be. I'm Brian Manning, and that's how I like to start. On YouTube, we got Palesa saying, definitely watching this 100. I like that enthusiasm. That's the way to start this Asylum Answers show. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm Brian Manning. I'm an asylum lawyer, and my law firm is called Political Asylum Lawyers. We're based in Texas, but we help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. Welcome, Badru. It says hello from Massachusetts on YouTube. It's good to see you. Palesa Thobejan, sorry for the mispronunciation, but good. It says definitely watching this. Good to see you on YouTube. Sarah, hey, on YouTube. Sarah, you were on the other day. Did you schedule a consultation? Did you do it? Let's do it. I want you to talk with my team. Salty Nutella, fun name. So on YouTube says, good afternoon. Thanks again for all of your long form videos on asylum stuff. By the way, before we get into your questions, TikTok, how's it going? Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may, depending on where you are. Listen, if you want to get all my best stuff, all my best asylum tips, you really need to go to YouTube, all right? If you're watching on Facebook or TikTok, YouTube is where I've got all my best stuff. Go to YouTube and search for Political Asylum Lawyers. That's the name of my channel on YouTube. And then go to playlists. And under playlist, one of the playlists is called Full Length Asylum Trainings. And I've got some like super detailed trainings on there, okay? Where I go into very great depth and detail about all kinds of things that you need to know about asylum, all right? To give yourself the best possible chance to win your case so that you can secure your future in America through asylum. We've got good morning, good afternoon. Hey, Morale, Nancy, good morning on TikTok. Good afternoon, depending on where you are. We got Filusma Lafleur Jr. says living in Houston. Yeah, H-Town. Good morning. We got St. Rose Rich Carr from Indianapolis. Say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Again, for those who just joined, I'm Brian Manning. I'm an asylum lawyer. I actually used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now I'm an asylum lawyer, and my law firm helps immigrants all over the country. We help people in Texas, Florida, California, New York, Chicago, Atlanta, everywhere in between to secure their future in America through asylum. All right. Let me know in the comments what questions you have about asylum, and I'm going to answer. But first, I want to say a few words about the Trump effect. What do I mean? Actually, before I get to that, listen, if you want to talk with us, I want you to go to winasylum.com. Okay, go to winasylum.com, and that's where you can quickly and easily set up a consultation with one of our asylum professionals. We want to hear about what's going on with you. We want to understand your situation, analyze your case, and tell you whether we think that we can help you. And if we think that we can help you, we're going to tell you how. We're going to show you exactly tell you what the concrete steps are going to be that we're going to take to improve your chances for success, to build the strongest case possible for you, to prepare you, to give you the best possible chance so that you can secure your future, get confidence and certainty around your future in America. All right, the Trump effect. Listen, what's going to happen if Trump wins the presidency? Right now, as we're doing this live show, it's close. It's looking close again, right? If we were having this conversation a week and a half ago, I would have said it looks like Trump's definitely going to win. But the race has been changed, right? By Biden dropping out, Harris stepping in. There's a bunch of enthusiasm for Harris. Pretty much, it's almost, according to most polls, it's pretty much like dead even right now. Like it's really a dead heat, as we say. It's unclear who's going to win. So I'm going to make a couple videos for full-length videos for YouTube about sort of Harris and her policies, what we think her policies will be on immigration, specifically asylum. But today I want to address quickly Trump, all right? What would we see in a second Trump presidency? What would he do on immigration and asylum? Well, listen, the short version is he wants to basically shut down immigration. He wants as few people coming and staying in the United States as possible. And that's what he tried to do during his first presidency, was enact all the different policies that he could to restrict immigration generally, like family-based immigration, but also like asylum, and did a pretty good job of that. Like immigration numbers fell drastically under Trump. I mean, partly because of COVID, but also even before that, just because of policies. He didn't go as far as he would have liked, though, because a lot of his policies were blocked by courts. Trump's team his first time around was pretty incompetent. Like, no one expected Trump to win the presidency. And he didn't have in place like a real serious professional staff that knew how to get things done in Washington. Like, he didn't have sort of Washington insiders that knew how to get consensus around policies that could be constructed in a way that would actually withstand scrutiny by the courts and that could just, in a practical sense, be implemented and workable. So basically, it was incompetence that kept him from being as effective as he otherwise could have been in not just in immigration, in general. But there's concern that this time around it could be different because what we call the Republican establishment, like the sort of career Republican politicians and the career sort of people that work for them, that work in policy positions, are now solidly behind Trump on the Republican side, which is to say he's going to have more expertise and more competent people helping him to carry out the stuff that he wants to do should he become president. So that is to say he's going to be more effective probably this time around at crushing immigration and especially asylum. So, asylum, and particularly asylum at the southern border, has become one of the key issues in the electoral campaign, in the race for the presidency. And I think that if Trump becomes president, we can expect for asylum to be drastically limited, especially at the border. Like, it's going to really, the impact of a second Trump presidency on asylum will be especially felt for people who come to the border to seek asylum, more so than people who come to the asylum office, which is to say, I think there will be a lot of formal, actual policies that will make it harder to get asylum for people who come to the border. It will close the border off much, much more so than is currently the case. For people that have affirmative asylum cases that come into the U.S., mostly we're talking about people who come on a visa and then apply for asylum. I think it will be less. There will be fewer formal policies that will hurt asylum seekers. There will be some, to be sure, but I think the effects will be less severe than at the border. But still, listen, even at the asylum office, there's just this anti-immigrant sentiment and atmosphere, and people that are already pretty anti-immigrant and looking for excuses to deny people are just empowered and emboldened even more when the voice from the top is saying deny, 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 keep those immigrants out. And, I can tell you, I was an asylum officer at the Houston asylum office back right when Trump came into office. Well, I was still a diplomat when he came into office in January of 2016, but then I moved I guess he came into office in January 2017. Yeah. So, and then I left being a diplomat and went to be an asylum officer in the summer in like July of 2017. And so Trump had just been in office a few months when I got to the asylum office, and I asked, and the people there told me, the guys, the men and women who had been there a long time were like, things are feeling different. Like, the sentiment, the atmosphere is different. It does feel more anti-immigrant. Like, there's more of an expectation that we deny people. Okay. And during my time at the asylum office, I saw that build and build and build, that it just felt like increasingly, there was an expectation that like you should be trying to deny people. Okay, so that I think is going to be pervasive again under a second Trump presidency. But I think there's going to be even more actual formal policies that will mean fewer people getting asylum at the border than in the asylum office. Okay, but the bottom line is, I do think it's going to be harder to win asylum under a second Trump presidency, which means, what does that mean for you as an asylum seeker? Well, if you're thinking about applying, I think you should apply now before Trump possibly wins the presidency. If you've got a case pending, I think you should try to move your case forward as quickly as possible. That's usually harder at the immigration court, but the asylum office for affirmative cases, if your case has been pending for multiple years, you might be able to get your interview and your decision even before the elections, let alone before next January when the new president will take office, whoever that may be. And you do that through what's called a mandamus lawsuit. I talk about this all the time. I love talking about this because it's like the best immigration tool there is. It's the thing that when we're able to use it, that really makes our clients happier than anything else, because it gets you your interview. It's an incredibly effective, powerful tool for getting you your asylum interview at the asylum office if you've been waiting for multiple years It's powerful, it works, and we love using it, and our clients really, really love it. In fact, Badru is on here on YouTube. He commented, and Badru is someone who sued the government to get their. He's okay with me talking publicly about his case. By the way, I would never talk about a client's case unless they, gave me permission and we're okay with it. But yeah, Badru was a client. He sued the government and got his asylum interview quickly, and he won his case. He got his decision quickly, and he won his case. And now he's on his way to a green card. And then next, after that, U.S. citizenship. This stuff works, guys. All right. Mo says, so that's what I wanted to say basically about Trump is, listen, yeah, Trump's going to be bad for immigration, especially bad for asylum, because that's what asylum is, the hottest topic in immigration. It's the thing that is the most controversial aspect of our immigration system right now, and it's because it's what most people that are coming to the southern border are applying for. Most of them are applying for asylum. So a lot of people want to stop asylum or to drastically limit it, and that's something that Trump would probably try to do as president, more so than Harris. Harris, listen, Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, is talking pretty tough on the border as well. But throughout her career, she has tended to be more of a pro-immigrant type of person. So I think that, even if she takes some tough measures on the border, overall, her Harris administration is going to be much more favorable to immigrants and asylum seekers than a Trump administration. I have no doubt about that. All right, let's go to your questions. What do we have? Okay. Hope says, Trump is never going to win. Never. Samson on TikTok says, a good question. Samson says, how does circuit ride location interview scheduling work? How often in a year? All right. So the question is, what's up with these USCIS asylum office circuit rides? How often do they go out and do these circuit ride interviews? And, is it going to slow down or speed up your case if you're being interviewed at an office that is not the actual asylum office? So here's how it works. The asylum offices, right, they're in certain locations, but those locations, like let's take where I worked, for example, the Houston asylum office, they cover kind of a big geographic area, several states, and they send officers from the Houston asylum office to travel to other USCIS offices to do interviews there. Like when I was an asylum officer, I went from Houston, I went to Denver, Colorado for 2 weeks, and I did interviews there out of the Denver USCIS field office. They call that a circuit ride. So Denver is a circuit ride location for the Houston asylum office. And that's so that asylum applicants in Colorado don't have to travel all the way down to Houston. Rather, they get interviewed at the at the USCIS field office in Denver. They're constantly happening. Well, not constantly, but they're normally there's normally circuit ride interviews going on at circuit ride locations, which is to say there's almost always one or two asylum officers out doing interviews at a circuit ride location, but it's only one or two. So it's like they're not getting a lot of interviews done. In one day, an asylum officer will usually do 2 affirmative asylum interviews. They'll usually do like 8 a week. So, there's only 8, maybe 16 interviews a week getting done in Denver or in Salt Lake City or, at the other circuit ride location. So there's not a lot. So does it mean that if you're going to get interviewed at a circuit ride location, you're probably going to have to wait longer than people who are getting interviewed at the actual asylum office? Yeah, probably so. It's just because there's, a longer queue, there's fewer interviews getting done. I mean, it's true that there's also fewer people there, fewer applicants that need to be interviewed there than there are probably back at the normal asylum, at the asylum office. But still, I think the balance is such that fewer interviews is the bigger issue, and it means that you probably are going to have to wait a longer time. But if you sue through a mandamus lawsuit, they'll make sure that you get priority, all right, and that you'll get that interview, even if it's at a circuit ride location. All right. All right. Hope says, what information do asylum officers know about an applicant before the interview? Good question. So the question is, what information does the government have about you before you set foot in the asylum office for your asylum interview? And the answer is a fair amount. They have a fair amount of information. Look, it's not like the U.S. government is not all knowing and all seeing. They don't know everything about everyone. But I can tell you, having been on the other side of the desk, having been an asylum officer, that there's a fair amount of information that is available to asylum officers. I mean, they do background checks, first of all, right? Like there's pretty sophisticated background checks that are going on through different law enforcement, security related entities there's a good chance they're going to catch anything if you've had actual trouble with the law, especially in the United States, possibly in your home country, that could show up. But also just in terms of other stuff, like, social media, if you post stuff publicly on social media, there's a decent chance that they will see stuff on your public social media. In terms of private, if you've got like it locked down to where you're only sharing things with friends, I don't think they're going to see that. Unless they're doing like a formal investigation into you. But for most people, no, they're not going to see that. But listen, it's like you need to assume that whatever there is to know about you, like there's a decent chance that they'll know it one way or another, that they'll come to find out. So you need to be prepared for that. I mean, hopefully you're living your life in a way that you're not hiding things. I don't want you to hide things. I want you to be open and honest. Honesty is the best policy. But your mindset should be that, there's a chance the government's going to know about it. I encourage you to always be open and honest in everything related to your immigration case. All right. All right. Let's see. Let's go to YouTube for questions. Sarah says, okay. Hey, Sarah, you say, I called the lady. She said it's only for people seeking political asylum. Sarah, what do you mean? Sarah, Sarah, can you tell me what you mean by that? Like, are you saying you have like a religious related asylum case, or what kind of immigration problem do you need solved, Sarah? Because if someone told you that we just do political asylum, that's not true. We do all asylum. So remember, there's 5 protected grounds: race, religion, nationality, political opinion, membership in a particular social group. We do cases for all those things. We have 2 full-time receptionists who know really well and understand what we do, of course, because they're our full-time employees. But then for like after hours, evenings, and weekends, we have like a backup call service to answer calls, and we try to train them, but like it's just not the same. They don't get it as well as our actual employees. So someone might have given you bad information, Sarah. If you have any kind of asylum claim at all, like if you have applied for, or you're interested in applying for asylum, we want to talk to you. Whether it's based on race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership in a particular social group, we want to talk to you, and we might be able to help you, Sarah. So, Sarah, don't call. Don't call. Calling is bad. Calling is no good. Schedule your consultation. If you are interested in possibly getting help with your asylum case, schedule it online. Go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com. That's where you can schedule an asylum strategy session with one of our asylum professionals. We want to talk with you, see what's going on, tell you whether we think that we can help you to secure your future in America through asylum. It's super quick and easy. Sorry you're not going to see this TikTok, but on YouTube and Facebook, on your screen, it looks like this when you're on your mobile. Setting up this consultation, super quick and easy to do on your phone. Do it now. Do it right now. All right. Sarah, go online to winasylum.com and schedule a consultation if you're trying to get help with asylum. All right. All right. Let's go to good question. So Tuition Study says, hey, I have a question that one of my friends is considering for filing for asylum, but his question is, does his application for asylum affect his parents and siblings' B2 visitor visas? All right, here's the question. The question is, will the fact that you have applied for asylum make it harder for your family members, like your parents or your siblings, to get a visa, like a tourist visa? Or if they already have one, is it going to keep them from getting into the country? Good question. The answer is probably not. Listen, for a spouse, I would say there's a very good chance that yes, it will keep that spouse from getting a visa. For parents and siblings, chances of any problems, I think, are much, much lower. There's a chance that when your sibling goes to their visa interview, the visa officer might ask them, oh, do you have a sibling in the U.S.? Or do you have family in the U.S.? What are they doing? What's their immigration status? How long have they been there? And it could, I think you should be, I recommend that you be honest and tell the truth. If they explicitly ask a question to which you need to answer that, yeah, my brother or my sister is applying for asylum, in order to be honest, then you should do that. And that could hurt you. But listen, I used to be a visa officer. I don't know if you guys knew that. Before I was a asylum officer, I was a diplomat, and that's who does our visa interviews. And so I've done the visa interviews, thousands of visa interviews for tourist visas. And I can tell you, I never once denied someone because their sibling or their child was an asylum seeker. All right. I think the chances for problems with that are very low. It's different for a spouse. For a spouse, there's a pretty good chance that it will be a problem. But for like a parent or a child or a sibling that is applying for a visa, I don't think it's going to be a problem. All right. Very low chance for that. Thanks for the question. All right. Okay. Family Mayorga Morales says, when I had my interview, the asylum officer told me that since I'm waitlisted through U visa, if she refers me to the court, maybe the judge will dismiss my case. I'm still waiting for the asylum decision. Okay. Yeah. So that's interesting. Let me know if you have a question about that. Good luck. And listen, you should try to win your asylum case. Don't just sit back and say, oh, well, I've got this U visa thing pending. That might not work out for a very long time. It might not work out at all. You should do everything in your power to win your asylum case. So if you get referred to court, you need to talk to an asylum lawyer about what you should do, whether you should try to have the case dismissed, which, yeah, it might be a possibility, but it might not, honestly. But you need to talk to an asylum lawyer about how to approach that issue, in my opinion. All right. All right. All right. Thank you very much. Agararog says, you're the best, Brian. Very kind of you. Thank you. All right. All right. So St. Rose Reach Car says, when you file your asylum application with EOIR and request the EAD after 180 days, and they only give you the work permit to the applicant, not the derivative included in the application. Okay, it's actually not how it works. So the question is, when you apply for asylum as a principal applicant and you include in your application beneficiaries, which means either your spouse and or your children who are under age 21 at the time that you apply and are unmarried, you can include those people as dependents in your or beneficiaries in your case, or derivatives. All three of those words mean the same thing. The question is, can those people get a work permit based on your pending asylum case when you're the principal applicant? And the answer is yes. They're all eligible to get a work permit after your application has been pending for 180 days. And they and you, everyone, you're all eligible to apply for those work permits at 150 days. At 150 days after your application was accepted by the government, anybody included in the case can apply for a work permit. Now, it's important to understand, though, that for the work permit, everyone has to submit their own work permit application. For asylum, right, it's like you only have to have a principal applicant, and then there's other people that can be included as beneficiaries or derivatives or dependents in the case, and they don't have to submit their own asylum application. But it's different for the work permit. For the work permit, everyone who wants a work permit and a social security card needs to submit their own work permit application. All right? Good luck. Palesa says, this is so informative. Thank you. Thanks for the comment. Let's go over to TikTok for a question. All right. I'm on decision pending on my asylum, and my I-765 expires in 6 months. Should I apply for the renewal? Good question, Zach Diablo. The question is, let's say that you've applied for asylum and you had your interview, and then you're just waiting for a decision. But your work permit, based on your pending asylum case, is set to expire pretty soon, like within 6 months. Should you go ahead and renew that work permit, or just wait and see if maybe you get the asylum decision such that you don't need to actually renew your work permit? Because if you win your case, then you can work legally without a work permit. You could actually, if you want to get a work permit, to show that you can work legally, because a lot of employers don't understand that just the asylum approval by itself is enough. They want to see a work permit. So you can get a work permit card based on, but it will have a different category. It will be like asylum approved or asylee instead of asylum pending. So the question though is like, do you just, wait and maybe you'll get approved, and so don't apply for the renewal, or go ahead and apply for the renewal? I think you should apply for the renewal. Don't wait. You don't know when you're going to get your decision. It might take weeks longer. It might take months. It could even take years to get your decision. I think it makes sense to go ahead and apply for the EAD renewal, right? I mean, listen, I know it's a pain. It's a hassle to do the application. It costs a few $100s, which, that stuff stinks, but like it's better to do that in case you don't win your case, or in case it takes a long, long time to win your asylum case. So if I were you, I would apply to renew your work permit based on the pending asylum case. But listen, if you've been waiting, if you applied for your asylum case, if you applied several years ago and you've been waiting a long time for the decision, you should sue. You can sue to force your decision. I talk about the mandamus lawsuit all the time in the context of suing to force your interview. But listen, you can also use it to force the decision after your interview, as long as you applied for asylum a long time ago. So keep that in mind. All right. Sobat Jot says, what about UNHCR as asylum seekers? Please respond to this. Or what do you mean? What are you trying to ask me about that? Let me know. Sobat, can you expound? Let me know what you mean by that. Sarah, okay, actually it's before Sarah. Let's go to Mike on YouTube. It says, the present moment, what would be the quickest that you could get an appointment if I was willing to go to any state already and have my work permit and have my A number? You mean, Mike, are you asking like, is there a asylum office that is moving the fastest in terms of scheduling interviews? Good question. If that's not the question, rephrase it and let me know, but I'll address that question. The question is, which asylum office is going to give you your interview the fastest? Like, let's say you're willing to move before you apply for asylum, or maybe after you've already applied. If you're willing to move to try to possibly speed things along, is there a certain asylum office you can say, oh, well, I'll move to their jurisdiction and get my case done the fastest? And the answer is no. There's no way to predict this. Even if we had good data about the last, like, let's say 6 months, or recent trends about which asylum offices people are getting the interviews the quickest at, that kind of thing changes like overnight. Even if we had good data about what has been the quickest recently, I would not rely on it to tell someone like, oh yeah, go move here because things are going fast there, or move here before you apply because it's fast. There's so many factors that go into scheduling priorities and how scheduling happens, such that no, you cannot predict with any confidence how long it's going to take at a certain asylum office. So no, I would not base where you're going to live around that. All right. Sarah says, I've applied for 5 years work permit. Can I wait when I have received it and then sue them, since I've waited for 9 years now? Sarah, you don't need to wait to sue. The two things of waiting for your I understand, Sarah, that you've applied for your work permit, to renew your work permit, right? And you're saying, oh, do I need to wait until I get it to sue the government to force my asylum interview? No, the two things have nothing to do with each other. Let's address it like this. So the question is, if you've applied to renew your asylum pending work permit, but you're considering suing the government to force your asylum interview, does it make sense to maybe wait until you actually get that work permit approved and get it in your hands before you go forward with a lawsuit to force the government to give you your asylum interview? No, you don't need to wait. The two things have nothing to do with each other, right? The fact that you sue, if you choose to sue, will not affect your work permit at all. Like the people that deal with the work permit, probably they will not even know that you've sued. Even if they did, it would have no effect on whether you get the work permit approved or how long it takes to get that. It will not affect it. Same thing, the fact that you haven't, same thing going the other way. The fact that you have an application pending to renew a work permit does not affect at all your lawsuit. It also does not affect your underlying asylum claim. They're just totally separate things. So don't worry about the fact that you have this EAD renewal application pending when you're deciding whether to sue, because they don't affect each other. So if you want to sue, if you want to secure your future in America through asylum and you're sick of waiting and you've been waiting for multiple years, then go ahead and sue. Do it. All right. So, Sarah, you say your case is related to female circumcision, female, or we sometimes call female genital mutilation. So that fits under that category that is membership in a particular social group, and we absolutely handle those cases. We've handled a lot of those with a lot of success. All right. And first of all, if that's something that's happened to you or that you're afraid it's going to happen to you, then let me just tell you, I'm really sorry to hear about that, Sarah. That's very tragic. I'm really sorry that you're in that difficult situation. The answer is that, we do those cases, and we've had a lot of success with them. Sarah, go right now. Like, don't worry about missing what I'm saying on this live right now. Jump over, use your laptop or your phone and go to winasylum.com. Okay, go to winasylum.com. That's where you can schedule a consultation with us. It's super quick, it's easy, and we want to talk with you. All right, Sarah, I want you to talk with my team. I hope you'll schedule it today. I'm going to check this afternoon and see if you're on our schedule. Because listen, you're telling me that your case surrounds female genital mutilation, and you're telling me that you said earlier that you've been waiting for 9 years. You're in a very good position to have success with a mandamus lawsuit. Okay, waiting that long. I can't make any guarantees. As a lawyer, I'm not allowed, because of my ethical rules, I'm not allowed to make promises or guarantees. But listen, I have a very, very high level of confidence, Sarah, that if you hire us to sue the government to force your asylum interview, that it will be successful. I am highly confident. And if you've been a victim of female genital mutilation, then I think you have probably a strong chance to win your underlying asylum case. And I believe that we can help you to increase your chances for success. I think we can help you to give you even a better chance of winning. Okay, so that's what I think. So listen, the question is, you've been waiting 9 years for your asylum interview. What can you do about that? So listen, you can request a humanitarian expedite if there's something going on in your life that is making your life really hard or causing you harm, and getting your interview and getting your decision, getting your case behind you would help remedy that, help make you better. That can be a reason that they'll expedite your case and give you an interview. But that's rare. They usually say no when you ask about that, even if you have a really good reason. Sometimes people will do what's called an ombudsman request, where you ask this office within the Department of Homeland Security to look into it and see if they can move it forward. That almost never works. Congressional inquiry, where you have a member of Congress where you live, touch base with the asylum office and say, hey, what's the status of this case? We hope that you'll give it due consideration as soon as you can. That does not work at all. What does work is suing the government in a mandamus lawsuit. If you've been waiting 9 years, there is a very, very high chance for success, in my experience and my professional opinion, to have success with suing the government to force your interview and your decision soon. And it will not hurt your underlying asylum case. I am very confident that suing the government does not prejudice your asylum case. It doesn't hurt your case or make it less likely that you'll win your underlying asylum case. So we should talk. I want to talk. All right. Schedule a consultation now. The best way to do that is go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com, to schedule an asylum strategy session right now. Mike asks, what's your company's success rate in getting applicants asylum? I don't know off the top of my head what overall rate is. There's a lot of ways to cut that up and look at it, depending on sort of case type and the sort of procedural posture of the case when it comes to us. And there's lots of factors that you can sort of use to come up with numbers like that. Listen, Mike, I think I know it's higher than the national average in terms of approval rates, including the national average of approval rates where the person does have a lawyer. We did some research and pulled together some numbers not too long ago when we were interviewed by The Economist. I don't know if you guys have heard of The Economist. It's a pretty popular, prominent news magazine. And they sent a reporter from New York to Texas twice, to 2 different times, to talk with me and my my managing attorney, Laure Dachelet, about what we're doing. And they ran a feature article about our law firm and the clients that we're helping. And they talk a little bit, there's a mention in that article of our asylum approval rate. I don't remember what those numbers were off the top of my head, but if you Google economist, Brian Manning, asylum lawyer, you'll find that article from The Economist. But listen, it's higher than the national average. I'm confident that it's a lot higher than most immigration law firms. We take this stuff seriously. We have sophisticated, serious lawyers and serious support staff who actually care. Listen, I don't know if you guys know this, but immigration lawyers are kind of the bottom of the barrel in U.S. law. Like, there's like corporate lawyers who do mergers and acquisitions, and like there's sort of different levels of sophistication of law and how sophisticated the lawyers that do that kind of law are. Immigration's down there, all right? It's not the best and brightest, honestly, in terms of achievements in like law school and professional achievements. And it's definitely not up there in terms of effort. I can tell you, when I was an asylum officer, I was actually shocked by how little most immigration lawyers did to help their clients. I was shocked. I was like, you didn't do anything. Like, you maybe help this person a tiny bit with their application form, but that's it. You didn't write a legal brief to explain their case to me and argue for how they meet the requirements. You obviously did not prepare them well at all. It's shocking. It's shameful even. But a lot of immigration lawyers will just be like, hey, before your asylum interview, we'll meet like 15 minutes early before the interview, and we'll go over, kind of tell you like what to expect, what they're going to ask you. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. No, that's not enough. That is not enough. You need to do intensive preparation for your asylum interview or your asylum hearing in immigration court, okay? With our clients, we do a full-scale mock interview where you experience everything that you're going to experience on the day of the real interview from beginning to end, because we want you to feel like you've been there. We want you to feel like, okay, I've done that. I know what to expect. I know what kind of questions they're going to ask. I know what it feels like to be in this position. I know what the different procedures are for the day. All of this is going to give you confidence and peace of mind and comfort, and you're going to do a better job with the real interview, right? And then after the mock interview, a day or two or three later, we do a debrief session where we go back and we give you feedback about how you did, and make some suggestions like, hey, when you answered this certain question, it was a little bit unclear. You might want to consider rephrasing it just to be clear, and give you all of our best asylum tips. Anyway, rant over. All right. All right. Nice. Thank you. All right. So Setter on TikTok says, hey, how do you add your baby to a pending affirmative asylum claim? All right. So the question is, how do you add a recently born child to your affirmative asylum claim with USCIS? So yeah, you can add a dependent to your case at the asylum office and at the immigration court. Basically, it's a little bit tricky. Unfortunately, the asylum offices all have their own requirements for this. There's no standard rule nationwide with USCIS about logistically and practically what you have to do. But at a minimum, what you have to do is do like an updated application form where you're listing the person's data and checking the box to say, yes, I want them to be included in my case. And you have to provide a identification document for them, like a passport data page copy. And you have to provide proof of relationship. So for a child, you have to provide the birth certificate that shows that, you're the parent. And you should provide a cover letter that says, hey, I want to add my family member to my case as a dependent. Here's the materials that I'm submitting in support of that request. And you send that to the asylum office. Now, some offices ask for additional things, for more, they have these very particular rules. So before you do that, you might want to email the asylum office and say, hey, can you please tell me at this time what's required to add a dependent to my case? Because they change sometimes. We've seen asylum offices change their rules arbitrarily, seemingly. But listen, here's the thing. You asked specifically about adding a new baby to your claim. Well, listen, if your child was born in the United States, you can't add them to your claim because they're assuming they're a U.S. citizen. Almost everyone born in the U.S. is a U.S. citizen. If they're a U.S. citizen, they can't be added to your claim. They don't need to be. They already have U.S. citizenship. They don't need an asylum. They can't get it. So don't worry about it if they're a U.S. citizen. But if they're not, then yeah, reach out to the Asylum office about what exactly is required with that office to add a dependent. Okay. Listen, if you want to talk with us about your situation, go to winasylum.com, WINASYLU.com. So listen, we used to charge for these consultations. It was like $200 per month, not per month, per session for a consultation. But right now, at least at this moment, we're not charging. Okay. It's free. I don't know how long that's going to last. So go ahead and schedule it now. Take advantage of this opportunity now while we are offering this free consultation. All right. All right. Nice. Listen, if you don't want to, scheduling online is best, but if you're determined to call, you can call us at 713-909-0401 on TikTok. That number's in my profile. If you want to pop over to my profile page on TikTok and see that number, but it's 713-909-0401. That's the number you can call to schedule your Asylum strategy session today. Schedule it. Call today to schedule it. All right. I think we've still got availability for this coming week, so that you can get in and talk with us and we can see whether we think we can help you. All right. I want that to happen. So Yusuf Kosaya says, I'm not working at this moment. Do I necessarily need a lawyer for my first asylum hearing? Good question. Yusuf, the question is, do you really need a lawyer for your first hearing in immigration court? So listen, in immigration court, there's usually two hearings, right? The first is called a master calendar hearing. Weird name, I know. The second one is called an individual hearing, another weird name. And this first one is mostly administrative in nature. It's usually pretty quick. It's like 10 to 20 minutes. You don't have to be ready to explain your case and fight your case at that time. So, people are tempted when they know this, they're tempted to be like, oh, I don't need a lawyer for that one. No big deal. I'll just get one for the second, for the big one, the one that really matters. I think that's a mistake because listen, sometimes important things do happen at this first hearing. Surprises emerge. Sometimes the prosecutors come up with information or that you weren't expecting them to raise, or they, maybe they want to dismiss your case and you don't want it dismissed, but you're not ready to make arguments about that. Or listen, any number of things can happen that can have a negative effect on your immigration situation. So yeah, I do think, I strongly recommend that you have a lawyer for your first hearing. Okay. Listen, people do whatever's necessary sometimes to get the help that they need to give themselves the best possible chance to secure their future in America through asylum. And by that, I mean, people often, our clients often count on the help from family or friends or members of the community to be able to hire us, because I know hiring a lawyer is not cheap. But, I think our clients would tell you that it's worth it. It's worth it to get the best help possible, given just how important this is to your future. We're talking about your safety, your security. We're talking about your long-term status. We're talking about your future and, the life that you want to build here in the United States. So, listen, we offer, we do a payment plan, right? Where you don't have to pay everything at once. You make an initial payment and then you can make monthly payments. Also, if you can't make the initial payment, you can't get anyone to help you with it. We collaborate, at least right now, with a company that does immigration loans that you could check into. So, there's options. There's for people that are really motivated, we find, and they recognize the value of just how important this case is and how much a skilled asylum lawyer can help them. People can often find ways to get this done, So Sandy asks, my friend's on an F1 visa. Can they maintain two statuses, asylum and F1 visa? Good question. So the question is, can you have two different status at the same time, like be an F1 student and have asylum, be an asylee? The answer is, yeah, you technically can. I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think you can have both status at the same time. I've never been asked that question, but the important thing probably though, listen, is that you don't really need the F1 status once you have asylum. Once you're an asylee, you can work legally, you can study. It's better. It's much better than having F1 status. If you have asylum and you go to renew your F1, like if you ask for an extension, you might be denied then because you definitely have what's called immigrant intent, where you've demonstrated that you plan to stay here like long term, and that's inconsistent with what you're supposed to be intending as a student. But like if you already have F1 and it's valid for, let's say, another year and you win asylum, does that like terminate your F1? Not automatically. No, definitely not automatically. Yeah, but the important thing though, listen, is that like asylum is better. So you want asylum. Don't worry like, oh, it's going to mess up my F1. Well, it's okay even if it does eventually, because asylum is better. All right. Asylum leads to permanent residency. Asylum leads to a green card, which leads to U.S. citizenship, which is what you should be aspiring to. F1 doesn't lead to that stuff. All right. All right. So Trong says Maryland, Ohio compared to California, New York, is the asylum approval rate higher, lower? The question is, you asked about several different places, like comparing several different places to several other different places. So I'm going to approach it. It's a little bit hard to answer that question like that. I'm going to answer it like this. All right, Trong? The question is, where's the best place to win asylum? Which is to say, where are the highest approval rates in the United States? California in general is going to be the best because, listen, they have high approval rates at both of the asylum office. Both Los Angeles and San Francisco have high approval rates. Also, the immigration courts in California tend to have among the higher approval rates among immigration courts in the country, okay? So overall, California is the best. But listen, if you've got, and San Francisco is better than LA, all right? So San Francisco is like the best place to be an asylum seeker in general, all right? If you, let me touch on New York. You mentioned New York in your question. New York is tricky because New York, the immigration court in New York City has a very high approval rate, usually one of the highest in the country. However, the asylum office of USCIS in New York has the lowest approval rate, according to the most recent statistics, which are not that recent, but they have the lowest, the asylum office in New York had the lowest approval rate. So New York is bad for people with affirmative asylum cases, good for people with defensive asylum cases. So it's a little bit tricky. Yeah, that's how it works. The South is bad. Like Texas is not good. Florida's not good. Atlanta, the whole state of Georgia is not good. Actually, that's not true. Let me rephrase that. Georgia is bad for defensive cases for immigration court, but for affirmative asylum cases, with USCIS, Georgia is covered by the Arlington Asylum Office up in Arlington, Virginia, and they have a pretty decent approval rate. It's among the higher ones. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. So Georgia is kind of like New York, except it's the opposite. Georgia is, for people living in Georgia, like including Atlanta, affirmative asylum is pretty high rate. Defensive asylum is pretty low. So it's the opposite of New York, where affirmative asylum approval rate's low and defensive in immigration court is high. Kind of tricky, right? MJCVR says, can I seek asylum in the United States? In my case, I'm part of the LGBTQ plus community from Saudi Arabia, and I can't live here due to homophobia and the laws against us. Well, first of all, let me just tell you that I'm really sorry that you're in this difficult position. That sounds terrible. It sounds really sad and difficult and hard, and no one should have to go through that and be afraid and be facing that. So I'm really sorry about that, okay? The question is, can someone who's a member of the LGBTQ plus community win asylum in the United States if they're from a country that's really repressive against people from that community? And the answer is, yeah, these can usually be a really strong case. If you have suffered in the past because of this, like if you've been physically harmed or discriminated against, harassed, things like that, that can make for a very strong case. But even if you haven't, even for people that are, let's say not openly living as gay, and maybe people don't even know in their country, but if that person wants to like get married and have a family, but they fear they can't do that, first of all, because maybe it's illegal under the country's laws, but also if they were to live openly, they would be at risk of grave harm, then that can be a strong case too. So what I'm saying is you can win asylum even if you haven't had problems in the past because of this. If you're from a country where a lot of really bad things are happening to people from the LGBTQ plus community. We help people in this position all the time. I love helping people coming from these circumstances. No one should have to be afraid just because of who they are. So you should call us once you get to the United States if you're not here. We like helping people win these cases. All right. All right. Sarah got it done. I love this. That Sarah and I had this dialogue. She's on YouTube. We had this dialogue about her situation. And I said, Sarah, I begged her. I said, Sarah, stop what you're doing. Stop listening to me. Go to winasylum.com and schedule your consultation, please. Because I think she has a good case. I think she has a good case to sue the government and get her interview and her decision quickly. And I think she has a good chance of winning her underlying asylum case. And I think that we can help her to improve her chances for those things significantly. But we need to know more. We need to talk with her in much more detail about her situation, get to know about her life, get to know about her goals. Because listen, sometimes you do these consultations with other immigration lawyers and it's like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and like they don't know anything about you. We don't want that. We want to sort of understand you as a person. We want to understand what your goals are, what your aspirations are, where you're coming from, what you've been through, because all this stuff matters to us in trying to give you the best support possible. So anyway, the point was, where I was going with that was, Sarah, nice. Thank you for scheduling the consultation. She said she booked it for Tuesday, the 6th at 9 a.m. We look forward to talking with you. For anyone else, now's the time, right? Like, don't wait. There's no need to wait. If you're interested in if you're in the United States and you're interested in getting help with your asylum case or learning more about asylum, then go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com, and schedule an asylum strategy session. So one of our asylum professionals can get to know you and see what's going on and tell you whether we think that we can help you to secure your future in America through asylum so you can get confidence. Oh man. Mike, 2 comments in a row on YouTube. Sarah said that, and then Mike says, booked for Tuesday, same day as Sarah. Because everything you've said, Mike says, booked in for Tuesday, because everything you've said about an attorney not giving you any preparation, well, that's currently going on with my current attorney, and you giving me confidence in your abilities. Thanks, Mike, for the kind words on YouTube. Listen, yeah, I was saying earlier, like most immigration lawyers don't do much to help their clients. It's a shame. We do a lot. We charge more. We charge more than most immigration lawyers. Not the absolute. I've seen people who charge more, but we charge more than most. But we do a lot more than most. I'm quite confident. Listen, putting together a truly strong asylum case and giving yourself the best possible chance to win is hard. It requires a lot of hard work from you and from us. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work if you want to do it right. If you want to really give yourself the best possible chance and you want to work with professionals who are motivated to really help people, who care about people, who are passionate about this line of work, that's what we offer people, all right? We offer effort, passion, and sophistication, knowledge, experience. I think, in my opinion, one of the sort of unique things that we offer people is this insight that I have gained over my 11 years working for the government's 2 main agencies for asylum and refugee matters. I worked for 11 years for the government's 2 main agencies for asylum and refugee matters. And now, that's what we bring to help our clients. Whether you're working directly with me or one of my associates and all of our staff, they're all trained on this stuff. It's this experience and these insights that inform everything that we do in our cases. And that's I think, pretty unique. And we're going to work hard in your case. All right. Haven says, Brian, I'm in Texas. Can I request an in-person mock interview, or can I request you to be with me during the formal interview? So the question is, thanks, Haven, for the question. The question is, can you do an in-person mock interview with us? And the answer is, we actually do these virtually, only virtually by video conference. Listen, even for people that live in Texas where we're based, we still just do this stuff virtually, okay? We have this model where we are able to offer what I think is a tremendous amount of value, but we do this stuff online, all right? I know that may seem like, but I just feel better being in person, but I ask you to look at our record. We have a track record of success. If you look at our Google reviews, we've got over 350 reviews with a 4.9 star average, despite only being 4 years old. Our law firm is only 4.5 years old. And I say that to sort of emphasize that we've figured out a good model to make this work. All right. Trust me when I say that doing it online is not going to be bad or negative for you. The preparation, that is, like including the mock interview. All right. Our clients, I think, will tell you that it works. Doing, preparing for the case online by sharing things online and by talking by telephone and doing things by video conference, it works. Doing the preparation online through a video conference, it works. All right. So don't worry about that, Haven. We'll do it by video conference, but it'll work. We'll get you ready. All right. Haven, schedule our consultation. Go right now. Go call us. Call 713-909-0401 to schedule this asylum strategy session so that we can help you to secure your future in America through asylum. All right. Kareen Hakobayan says, can I apply for an asylum application with an expired passport? The question is, can you apply for asylum in the United States if you've got an expired passport? Yeah, you can. Listen, you need proof of identity, but an expired passport is sufficient proof of identity. So like, you just need to have a copy of the data page, which is the page of the passport that shows your photo and the data about you. That can work. Yeah. If you have any other kind of identity documents, like a birth certificate, including from your country, you can submit that as well. But the short answer is yeah. The fact that your passport is expired will not keep you from applying for or getting asylum. All right. Some people, there's quite a few people who don't have access to anything. Like they don't even have a scan, like a copy of their expired passport data page. They don't have anything. And there's other ways that you can establish your identity to the satisfaction of the asylum officer and go on to win asylum. So don't let that keep you from applying for asylum. Okay. All right. Nice. All right, guys. Listen, gotta go. That's it. But good being with all of you here. We're going to be live again on Monday. So keep YouTube open. TikTok, go to YouTube. Listen, YouTube's where I have all my best stuff. Go to YouTube, search for Political Asylum Lawyers and subscribe. Check out the playlists. All right. The playlists are where you're going to find some like really detailed trainings about all the stuff you need to know about to give yourself the best possible chance to win your asylum case so you can get confidence and certainty around your future. Go there, go to YouTube, search for Political Asylum Lawyers. If you're ready to talk, go to winasylum.com, schedule this consultation with us. Do it right now so we can talk with you. I think there's probably still a few spots this week so that we can get hooked up and see what's going on and tell you if we think we can help you. Okay. I want you to talk with us. I want you to connect with my team. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend. And listen, again, I'm Brian Manning. My law firm's called Political Asylum Lawyers. We're based in Texas, but we help people all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. Listen, it's an honor to serve you in your asylum journey. So until next time, take care. Have a good weekend.